Hello friends, this is Douglas with J.E.B Expeditions. Thank you for joining me today on our very first podcast. I hope you will find the topics of discussion of both interest and value to you and your family. I would like to briefly introduce myself. My name is Douglas. I am 28 years old. I was born in northwest Missouri, however I grew up in northeast Kansas in a very rural small town. Throughout my life I played many sports. I used to play baseball, soccer, basketball, football. I wrestled. I also ran both cross-country and middle-distance events in track and field. I've held many jobs throughout my young life. I believe 13 to be exact. Kind of lost track or quit caring. Some of those jobs, I was a laborer in a coal field as an 18-year-old. I've worked as a union diesel technician, a part salesman, general labor, landscaper, and before my current job I was owner-operator of a small-scale regenerative livestock and pasture-based poultry farm where I also produce other products such as wild-crafted syrup and dog treats. I am currently a soldier of the United States Army on active duty, residing in Colorado. Now that I've introduced myself, I would like to explain exactly what J.E.B Expeditions is and why it is so important to me. I strongly seek and believe in the power of knowledge and community. J.E.B Expeditions is named after my son and best friend J.E.B, whom I sadly lost on April 2nd, 2021. J.E.B was not only my best friend, he was my hiking buddy, my fishing buddy, and my everything buddy. J.E.B appeared in my life as a young puppy. He was a beautiful beagle pit bull mix with an unusually spotted tongue and ears that resembled a dingo. He was smart, loving, and loyal to a fault. Despite where I was, how long I may be gone, or whatever mood I may be in when I returned, he always provided me with comfort and unconditional love. I carry him with me everywhere I go, and he will forever be a part of my heart and memory. I felt it would be appropriate to name this channel after him in honor of his legacy and impact on me. He loved any kind of expedition. What I would give to have one more expedition with him. So any views or opinions in this podcast or on my channel are just that, opinions, nothing more. I am not a doctor and I am not prescribing anything to you. If you find yourself in need of medical attention or advice, seek out a healthcare professional. I may hold views that differ from yours. Let's be civil adults and discuss theories and reasonings with each other, not be hateful and vengeful. Without further ado, let's get started. Today we're going to talk about beating the grass to scare the snakes. So I'm going to read from the Book of Five Rings. The Book of Five Rings is a classic text on the Japanese way of the sword. It was written by Miyamoto Musashi and translated by Thomas Cleary. I'm going to read the back of the book real quick so you have a little bit better understanding of what it is and what it implies. So, the Book of Five Rings is one of the most insightful texts on the subtle arts of confrontation and victory to emerge from Asian culture. Written not only for martial artists, but for anyone who wants to apply the timeless principles of this text to their life, the book analyzes the process of struggle and mastery over conflict that underlies every level of human interaction. The Book of Five Rings was composed in 1643 by the famed duelist and undefeated samurai Miyamoto Musashi. Thomas Cleary's translation is immediately accessible, with an introduction that presents the spiritual background of the warrior tradition. Along with Musashi's text, Cleary translates here another important Japanese classic on leadership and strategy, the Book of Family Traditions on the Art of War by Yagyu Minonori, which highlights the ethical and spiritual insights of Taoism and Zen as they apply to the way of the warrior. So don't get the Book of Family Traditions on the Art of War by Minonori confused with the Art of War by Sun Tzu. Two different books. I would highly recommend reading both of them. You can pick this book up for I think it was $8 to $10 at pretty much any local bookstore. If you don't know this about me, I have never purchased anything from Amazon. I never will in my lifetime. Kudos to Jeff Bezos and the business model that he has produced. However, it doesn't align with my moral and ethical views and opinions. Being a small business owner and somebody from a rural community, I understand the impact that businesses such as Amazon can have. However, I do understand that convenience sells, and that is why ultimately Amazon is so successful because they're convenient. You can just get on there, click a button, order your package, and it gets delivered to your door. Convenience is nice, however, I would strongly encourage you to either visit or call to your local bookstore. If they don't have it, I'm sure they would be more than glad to order a copy for you. So, we're about to get started on beating the grass to scare the snakes. So in the Book of Five Ring, there's many different chapters and topics that are covered or discussed. There's 5 scrolls, so you have the Earth Scroll, you have the Water Scroll, the Wind Scroll, the Fire Scroll, and the Scroll of Emptiness. And then you also cover the Book of Family Traditions on the Art of War that we previously mentioned. Today we're going to be reading from the Book of Family Traditions on the Art of War. We're going to go to page 104 and discuss beating the grass to scare the snakes. I've read this book numerous times, and this is probably the most interesting topic in the book to me. After I read it and give my interpretation, I hope that you will take the time to pause and reflect and gather your own interpretation of the text. Without further ado, let's flip to it. There is something in Zen called beating the grass to scare the snakes. To startle or surprise people a little is a device, like hitting at snakes in the grass to scare them. To do something unexpected as a ploy to startle an opponent is also an appearance concealing an ulterior intention, an art of war. When an opponent is startled and the feeling of opposition is distracted, the opponent will experience a gap in reaction time. Even simple, ordinary gestures, like raising your hand, are used to distract an opponent's attention. Throwing down your sword is also an art of war. If you have attained mastery of swordlessness, you will never be without a sword. The opponent's sword is your sword. This is acting at the vanguard of the moment. So the book goes on to further discuss the vanguard of the moment. It also discusses aggressive and passive modes, logical principles of aggressive and passive attitudes of body and sword, mental and physical, aggressive and passive modes, and so on and so on. So, what is my definition of a snake in the grass? My definition is anyone or anything that is false, a hidden danger, something or someone that cannot and should not be trusted. We all deal with snakes in the grass on a daily basis, in the workplace, at the gym, the local coffee shop, possibly, yet hopefully not, in our homes. Now, not all snakes are bad. Let's look at the symbolism of the grass snake. Often overlooked because it's a non-venomous and small snake, to many the grass snake is a symbol of new beginnings and transformation. For those who follow or believe in spiritualism and totem animals, the grass snake represents that you're in the process of big changes in your life. While you may face challenges, note that these changes will lead to positive outcomes. In Native American culture, and even in Christianity, the grass snake is a powerful symbol of rebirth and renewal. The cycle of life is represented in the way that the snake sheds its skin and emerges anew, presenting a perfect example for anyone that is going through major transitions or struggles in life. The grass snake is also associated with healing in many cultures, believing it can cure illness and injuries. However, in many myths and legends, the grass snake is depicted as a trickster. I guess it's up to each one of us to decide which snakes are good or venomous and which snakes are non-venomous to our goals and ambitions, and which snakes provide direction through the darkness and into the light. So when you expect a snake as venomous and harmful to the person that you strive to be, I would encourage you to stir the grass and startle the snake. That's all I have for this topic. I could go a lot further into it, but I would like you guys to build your own interpretation of the text. Once again, it was Beating the Grass to Scare the Snakes out of the Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi, the famed and undefeated samurai duelist from 1643. Thank you for joining me on this episode. If you enjoyed this content, please be sure to subscribe and share with your friends. Leave your comments below. Let me know what your interpretations of a snake in the grass are. Maybe it's politicians, coworkers, classmates, family members. Maybe it's all of the above. Maybe it's none. Hopefully it's none. Nonetheless, thank you for joining us. I look forward to seeing you in our next episode. God bless.